O Monarch, legacy of monsters, why do you do this to me? You raise up my hopes, only to smash them on the rocks of disappointment. I will apologise now for the lack of editing in this video. Life is busy and I completely forgot to make my one monstrous moment video. Again. At the same time, I need to get my thoughts out on episode 3 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters. So here we are. I will start by showing my Spark Notes. I didn't make these for episodes 1 and 2. I just watched the episodes and then gave my thoughts. This time, I made notes, because when this is all over, I want to make a series review, because there's so much that happens in these episodes that just amounts to, we'll have to see what happens at the end. Plus, you know, making notes helps me remember everything I wanted to talk about. Like, I thought the car chase at the start of the episode was really funny, mainly because you have this high-octane music playing over a minivan driving around an old people's home. Less funny are the plot issues, like the team landing exactly where the dad landed, on a mountain, after falling out of a storm, in the middle of Alaska, miles from anywhere, or the dad's tapes being thrown overboard because they might be found, but not the bag that has Monarch's logo on it. The editing is still being weird too. In some parts there are these quick snap cuts where they really don't belong. But this is countered with some new artsy editing, like this clip.
If we hide who we are and what we're trying to do, then what's the point of doing it at all?
She says, stepping out of the darkness into the light. And this shot of the old trio, which I think has a lot of suggestion to it. Also holding steady is the angry female protagonist, although this time she has more to be angry about.
He knew these things existed. You all knew.
It is your family business.
It's the family curse.
And she looks a lot happier when in extreme situations, or surviving them at least. Makes me wonder if she was written backwards, but we'll wait and see at the end of the series, again. Tech Girl also gets quite angry in this episode, but she's far more justified. Annoyingly, this takes place at the same time as the half-brother turning into a blank slate that others can write on. I.e., the old man wants us to do something. Why are we listening to him? Good point. Why are we listening to you? Because you should. Okay. There are other bits of bad dialogue, including reusing the same awkward trick twice in quick succession.
So I'm not gonna bite my tongue just to get support from a bunch of gun-toting Neanderthals. All we need is 150 pounds of uranium.
As much as we dropped on Japan.
But, again, we get some good examples of repeated dialogue as well.
Eisenhower, our commander-in-chief, would say we need every last ounce of uranium for national security.
A creature like this, as big as this, is an existential threat to global security.
This appears to be going in a direction we didn't discuss.
We discussed you needing a large quantity of uranium.
Not in bomb form, sir.
All they're asking for is a chance to assess what we're dealing with. We don't even know what these things are.
They're an existential threat to global security?
This is a secret, Kate, not a lie.
It seems like a distinction without a difference.
Not to me.
A lie and a secret are two different things. You trust us.
Do you trust her?
And as much as there's lots of other things to talk about, I think I'll leave those until later, because this line brings me onto the main subject of this video. One started last time I covered Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Continuity. The dragon from episode 2 does not appear in episode 3. That whole thing was dropped, unless they return to it later in the series, Again, we'll have to wait till later. This includes the USS Lawton, which is not explained. Well, not directly explained anyway.
We took this impression in a muddy field in Indonesia.
Bloody hell, are they actually saying Godzilla dragged the ship there? And doesn't that mess up the whole submarine disturbed Godzilla bit from 2014? Also, thanks to this episode, it's now even less clear who exactly was in Monarch in episode 2. I thought maybe Randa was in Monarch because he came up with the term Muto, but then Dr. Mira in this episode says,
"We've always maintained our independence."
So was she in Monarch in 1952? Or is she referring to the time between then and 1954? I will say, despite not answering my questions regarding the Lawton, the show has made an attempt to sort out some other issues regards Monarch's history. According to Con Skull Island, Monarch was funded in 1946, but in 1954 it was set up after Godzilla appeared. But then, also in Con Skull Island, Randa says Monarch is nearly bankrupt, which wouldn't make sense given the discovery of Godzilla and the Lawton attack. And then, Monarch is funded again after 2014, hence the tech upgrades seen in King of the Monsters, but the government don't know what they are doing? Monarch Legacy of Monsters makes a really good attempt at sewing all this together.
General called me in to discuss our funding.
So I gave him a proposal, string of Monarch outposts, extra staff, monitoring equipment, the works.
Said we didn't ask for enough. They are giving us a blank check to find out if there are more of those out there.
Say we find another one. Does the general need to know everything?
All that I can tell him is what you tell me.
With this narrative, we get a better understanding of what exactly Monarch's history is. Monarch gets funded. They don't find anything. A Titan is discovered. Monarch gets funded. They pretend not to find anything. So on and so forth. But why would they pretend to not find anything? Because as we see in this episode, they don't really like the way everyone else handles the Titans.
This thing is a no-show. I think it's safe to say we're losing the Army's backing.
It's better than watching them obliterate something they don't even understand.
Which then leans into the title of the show. Get it? Legacy of Monsters refers to the people rather than the Titans? Obviously that's the point of the title. And this is a good point to bring up, especially since it links up not only with the MonsterVerse franchise, but Godzilla as a whole.
These are not monsters, they are animals.
Unfortunately, what good Monarch Legacy of Monsters Episode 3 does for the history of the MonsterVerse is heavily unbalanced by the bad it does. We all know how the 2014 history lesson goes. The first nuclear submarine delves into the depths of the ocean, grabbing Godzilla's attention. The military lure Godzilla out and nuke him in the face, which fails to kill him. We even get to see the immediate result of just such an action in 2019. So why does Monarch Legacy of Monsters completely get rid of this established origin and replace it with their own? That makes so little sense. This screenshot alone causes problems because how does he know what Godzilla looks like if the whole submarine thing isn't a thing anymore? Then there's the fact Godzilla looks much smaller than before, although that might be a trick of the camera. While I'm here, why is his arrival met with so little awe and fanfare? Although that might be the dodgy editing again. And lastly, but possibly the most annoyingly is this reaction.
What have we done?
Scenario 1. Godzilla is fine, and she's reacting to seeing him being fine, if not better than before. So why does she look so sad? And why fade to black? And why not show him? Scenario 2. The show wants us to think that Godzilla is dead, which he isn't, because we know he isn't, because he was in episode 1. So why are they trying to make us think he is? Or are they trying to say the characters in the show think he is? The end of the episode, at least the 1954 portion of the episode, acts like Godzilla is dead. But that wouldn't make sense because surely they saw him post-boom? I now have an image of Dr. Miro looking upset and crying, "What have we done?" Only to then see the smoke clear and see Godzilla standing tall and say, "Oh no, wait, he's fine, never mind." The whole thing is so odd. I have seen people on the Twitter say that retcons are to be expected, and my response to that is, why? If someone makes a historical film and they drastically changed important events, wouldn't that be a problem? Cough, Braveheart, cough, The Woman King, cough. I've seen posts shared saying that the script had to be okayed by Toho and Legendary, which would be fine if not for the existence of Godzilla vs. Kong and basically everything Toho have done lately, bar possibly -1 to be confirmed. And if anyone says that I shouldn't be so concerned with keeping continuity with the rest of the Monsterverse, I'm sorry, but I like a good story, and continuity is part of a good story, and Monarch, Legacy of Monsters is part of the Monsterverse's story. If you don't care about the story and just want to see entertaining visuals, go watch Hey Bear. All my complaints might be answered by the time we get to the end of the series. Oh my god, do I have to keep saying that? Or they might not. We won't know until we get there. In either case, I'm going to continue to point this stuff out.